Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Hakodash. Of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. This is Naaman with the DC Camp Branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But also, I'd like to send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth via camps, sometimes more than once a week, but also the posting of numerous videos on a daily, saturating the airwaves, all right? Furthermore, pushing the truth out to the four corners. All right, so this is one of these videos that I'm happy to make because it goes into a big "we told you so." All right, and this is something Jake has been trying to, as a warning, you know, you reap what you sow and all of that, but you can't instruct fools, and these fools are finding out now. All right, and it goes to that poor man's wisdom. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll the video, and I'll come back with the scriptures in a little bit. But much of this, I don't have to say anything. Let them cook on their own. Let them cook themselves. So here we go.
It sucks to be a white American. Now hold on, give me a chance, let me explain. I want you to think of the kind of person who would put on a White Lives Matter sticker on the back of their Ford pickup. Why do they do that? Is it all racism? Yeah, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture, not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this.
And he's right. Let's just give it the respect it deserves. They've stolen from everybody, all right? And then called it their own. He is correct. No lies told. They have no culture.
Inherently, and it scares us. We know we have our regional cultures. Our cities, our sports teams, and families all give us our regional culture, but being white basically means nothing, or generally at least nothing positive. White people throughout American history are almost always seen on the side of the oppressors. Not all white people, but most of us. And this sucks to learn. It's even harder to internalize. And it's why white people usually don't accept this, because it makes us feel a deep sense of guilt. I think it's
critical race theory. Yeah, how about that? It eats them up. We help it more along because we're coming out with scriptures, all right? And letting you know who's who according to those scriptures, all right?
Why white people say nonsense like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. Sure, you probably don't see black people as objects, but you're refusing to accept the role our people have had in their oppression. That guilt we feel is our responsibility for the actions of our ancestors. It's why white people refuse to say that black people deserve reparation, because it admits our guilt. But black people deserve reparations. It just makes sense logically. You can sue someone for scratching your car, but black people can't sue the American government for the enslavement of their people. My people...
And let's just correct something right there, because the way they phrase this, it's like, we want reparations for slavery, but no one's alive. This is their logic. No one's alive that was ever a slave. And that's done on purpose. That plays into what he was talking about, that guilt. So, and we know this is, these people are devils. So they're going to play fast and loose with words, but it's everything that came as a result of that and after that. All right, they know what they're doing, and, well, in this case, not doing. All right.
People are arresting and deporting Mexican families from this country. Think about that. We are telling people that they are not allowed on the land we stole. Let's go a step further. White people stole a sacred land site from the people indigenous to this land and then carved 4 white people's faces on it, most of which were slave owners. I mean, Mount Rushmore is a place that we look at and we're like, oh, cool, giant faces. But to other people, it's a giant form of oppression, and admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks.
I started Tai Chi at 50. Now I'm 68. And doctors ask me for
oppression, and admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks. We suck, dude. My people really and truly suck. Not all of us contributed to this oppression, but we are all a part of it. And this will mostly sound like virtue signaling. It will mostly sound like, look at how rough we are. But there is a reality to admitting this guilt and being honest with it. Because white people are afraid to do this. And we're afraid to admit it because...
And that's the beautiful thing, because whether you collectively or not, all right, refuse to admit it, the Most High still holds you accountable, all right? Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, let's get that real quick. So, I mean, you know, kudos for acknowledging it at least, but let's see. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to get yours. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past. So while you may try to just push everything back, say, forget about that, and you even got some people amongst us, you know, our own people that, have jumped on that bandwagon of yours, as long as they get theirs, to hell with everybody else. And I'm talking about our so-called shepherds here, the Jim Negra Clyburn, South Carolina, and people like that, the gatekeepers, they're good at that, they're not for their people. And there's a video of, I think I got it somewhere, where Karen Bass out there in California, young Jake rolls up on her and asks her, what about reparations? She got this real sinister, like, Joker, like, stuck expression, like, smile on her face, and she's just like, just like she just went fucking I have to show it to you. I might have to do a video on that. I mean, and just ignoring him and smiling at him at the same time. And a woman and her, I guess it was a daughter, came up, and she just turns to them, it's like, and he keeps asking the question, over and over, and then finally her security comes up. I mean, these people don't give a fuck about us. That's another video, but let's go back to this.
We're afraid to admit it because my people are weak. White people are weak. We have power. We have given ourselves and put down the cultures that are stronger than us because we know that if white Americans were oppressed the same way black, native, or Mexican American people are, we would crack like glass. Our culture and identity as white people is so meaningless that we do everything in our power to keep other people down so that we don't break from having someone else on top. I think that's why you see white Americans championing white pride, not just out of ignorance or racism, but it's because they are scared. They're scared to come to terms with their guilt, scared to admit they're wrong, and terrified to acknowledge that we may have all the societal, economic, and political power, but as a people, we are weak. But this isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that...
It's not much longer than that forever, I can tell you that now. So, yeah, they're scared because all the snares and traps and holes that they dug for us, it's starting to come back on them. All right, and they're starting to see and understand that, man, we didn't give these people no breaks. We didn't let off of them for nothing. And that's scripture. That's Isaiah 14. All right, he ruled. Let me get it. This is Isaiah 14. Let's see. I'm gonna start around 8. Let's see. All right. Now I gotta go further up. Yeah, I'll start at 5. Actually, I can start at the top. But let me do it this way. It says, the Most High Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. See what's coming to you. All right. What you put us through is going to pale in comparison. All right. As that quote from Hellraiser, even in hell, your suffering will be legendary. Think about that. You're in the case of the lower state that you're going to be put in. All right. Your suffering compared to what we went through, yeah, it is going to be legendary. All right. Yeah, so let's go back to the video.
Isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that one day my people will finally take responsibility for what we have done. I hope that we'll collectively accept our role in the oppression of our non-white brothers and sisters and finally take action. And it will take the action of us white folks. It's not just non-white people that have to fight for their rights. It's us too fighting for them, because our cross to bear is being born white. Being born with the skin color of the oppressors means that we have to fight to be nothing like them. We're not near that right now. America is in a tumultuous stage where it very much does not feel like white people are acknowledging where they went wrong. But I want to have hope, and I refuse to accept that one day justice won't prevail. Collectively, we can all shed the shadow of oppression and share this place together. And that's the message I want to end with. I want to be hopeful that one day oppression will be something taught in history class, something that we don't have to see ourselves in. That's what I hope. Anyway, I want to be optimistic in the end. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
There is a reckoning in the air, and the illusion is cracking, because for centuries, America has sold itself as the land of free, as the beacon of hope, and as the promised land. But behind that patriotic promise, there is a haunting truth. A truth that white Americans are now waking up, and they have started confronting it. That America is no longer the land of free.
It never was.
That America was built on a stolen land with stolen labor, and that black folks now deserve reparations.
This country was not built on freedom. It was built on theft, genocide, slavery, and silence. The land we live on was stolen, ripped away from Native people through war, betrayal, and the violent erasure of entire cultures. Homes burned, families torn apart, and languages were forbidden, and children were buried. This land wasn't discovered, it was taken. Then this country marched south and stole half of Mexico, Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. That land wasn't empty. It was alive with history, with people, with deep indigenous roots. Mexicans and Native Americans share that blood. And now this country dares to call their descendants illegal on the land that was theirs first. And while land was being stolen, millions of black people were stolen too. Enslaved, brutalized, forced to build a country that never intended to see them as human. The wealth of this nation, its railroads, its cotton, banks, White House, was soaked in the black blood and sweat. And still the system works to keep them down, to silence, to punish, to erase. And today, this country is still being built on the backs of the brown, the poor, the undocumented, farm workers who can't afford the food that they harvest, mothers crossing borders to keep their children alive, laborers doing the hardest work for the lowest pay.
Don't crack now.
While being called a burden by the very people who benefit from them. I may not carry that history in my blood, but I refuse to look away. Because the truth is, America was never built by the powerful. It was built by the oppressed, by the people whose names never made it to the textbooks, by the ones this country tried to forget. But we remember. We remember because silence is a choice, and I will not choose it. Not now, not ever. Not while native land is still stolen. Not while black lives are still under attack. Not while immigrants are hunted, caged, and dehumanized. And not while injustice reigns, here or anywhere.
Let me hold up there, because this is something where I referenced the poor man's wisdom earlier, and this goes to you Northern Kingdom Jakes and the rest of you. We tried to tell you what you were dealing with, but oh no, and this is from decades past. Jake was willing to work with any and everybody, but everybody turned Jake away and said, you know, you are on your own. You know, and you, especially Northern Kingdom, you took the route that, you know, hey, we're going to choose to be so-called white adjacent. There are at least two that I can think of off the top of my head of your leaders, La Raza, and there was another organization that said the black man's struggles, I'm paraphrasing, are his and not ours. All right, this was in the late 50s, I believe. This particular quote, I paraphrase. And everything else, so-called black and brown union, you made sure that it didn't work. And of course, the so-called white man, being the devil that he is, he of course took notice of that and sought for more ways to put a wedge between us, you know, not discounting the curses that we're under. But all this time you were like looking for ways to screw over your Southern Kingdom boys. And I'm talking about, you know, you kind of want to give or make room there for those that probably didn't know, but at the same time, it is what it is. Especially in these days now that we're in, you know, everybody has access to information almost instantly in these little, you know, computers that we carry around with us. All right, numerous videos, like I say, that we post and others. So what I'm saying here now, you rejected the information, the help that we tried to give to you, and now you're experiencing what we warned you about or tried to warn you against. All right, so it's like a lot of Southern Kingdom Jakes are like, you know what, we tried, you know, you knocked away our hand, and now look what you're dealing with. You're experiencing everything pre-civil rights era. That this Edomite that you thought was your friend is now showing you his true face. Again, it's like the experiences that you had with this individual destabilizing your countries. You forget all that, and it's like we're like, don't you have eyes? Don't you? Where's the lessons with your history? With how this devil has dealt with you, and then you come up here and it seems as though you were misinformed about our status as citizens. You thought that we were immigrants, and that you tried to well, it comes to light that the reason why they voted the way they did, they thought that the Republicans are going to get us up out of here, not understanding the real history and Evidently, you didn't take civics or anything. Social studies. I don't know. It's weird. But damn. Again, the poor man's wisdom. All right, let's continue.
I don't speak for anyone, but I will speak with them, stand beside them, and fight for what's right. Because I know this.
It's too late.
We are the people, and we won't be silent.
Ooh, a McLaren. Wow, this is a really, really nice car.
Thank you, man.
Gold
Appreciate
diggers.
it.
Oh, I'm...
This. We are the people, and we won't be silent.
America has always promised freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of justice, freedom of opportunities. But ask any Black American, ask any marginalized communities, or ask any indigenous group in the United States, the answer will be different. They talk of freedom. Freedom when the entire communities are overpoliced, underfunded, disenfranchised. Freedom when the justice system protects properties more fiercely than it protects the Black lives. Freedom when wealth, education, housing, health are still defined by race and zip code. America was built on the land taken through bloodshed. From the Trail of Tears to the broken treaties and mass displacement. The indigenous nations were systematically erased from their homelands, and now, generations later, the land is still being mined, polluted, and profited from when the indigenous families are being considered to be the most marginalized communities in the United States. Right now, some of the white folks are finally waking up and admitting the fact that they were told to ignore that America was seized and the land was never freely theirs. That America is the land of freedom and that Black folks don't deserve reparation. I know the truth is so hard to escape, but these white folks have decided to wake up and admit that truth.
America's identity is not freedom. If you're always going on and on about how America is the greatest country on earth because it's so free and we're always trying to spread freedom, you need to calm down. America is and has always been about two things: profit and white supremacy. When I say this, I'm not trying to be ungrateful of the privilege I have.
It's an excellent point. This is Proverbs 10 and 15. It says, the rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. All right, and this is why, this is exactly why, all right, because why? He's trusting in uncertain riches. All right, trusting in uncertain riches. All right, let's go to 1 Timothy 6 and 17. All right. Charge them that are rich in this world. And they're getting ready to find out here real soon. Again, what we've been trying to tell everybody. All right. Money is not going to save you. It's not going to save anyone. All right. It says, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded. There's lots of pride. You see it every day. All right. Nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. A lot of you are going to find out the hard way. You've been concentrating your efforts in the wrong thing. All right. 18, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate. All right. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come. All right. Isaiah 33 and 6. This wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of thy time. All right. That they may lay hold on eternal life. Matthew 6 and does it start at 19? I know it's 20. Let's see. It says, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt. And here's the important thing, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. What do you suppose you're dealing with down here? All right. yeah, those said thieves. All right. Let's see. What else did I want here? That's why this scripture here is so important. All right. This is Proverbs 30 and 8. All right. It says, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. You want to be on as much of an even keel as you can. You look at ECG or EKG, all right? You know, and you bloop, 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 bloop. But it always got that, you know, it goes up and it goes down. That's the rhythm of it, you know. Something like that, you know. Let's go back to the video. Oops. That thing is so sensitive. Here we go.
The privilege I have, having grown up in the United States, is the wealthiest country on earth. And I know that there are plenty of countries around the world that have horrible human rights offenses, genocides, poverty, famine, corruption, and so on and so forth.
But the thing is, are they hypocritical about it?
But America is not about freedom, and we have pretended to be about freedom for the entire lifetime of this country. Yep. When I think about the Pledge of Allegiance that I was forced to recite in elementary school, middle school, high school, every day, every morning, looking at a flag, placing my hand over my heart, and pledging my allegiance to a country that I didn't really know that much about. We have whitewashed our history and our modern politics and our impact on the world right now so much that most people who get educated in this country have no clue what dark, evil shit we get up to. The FBI archives are publicly available. You can go online and read all about the nasty shit that they did, the relentless spying they did on people that were protesting through the 1960s and 70s. And look at Iraq throughout the 20th century, and then the invasion after 9/11. Look at Israel and Palestine. We're driven by two things: profit and white supremacy. Those are the bottom lines. From the very beginning, when this country was founded, for equality for every person, yet we had slaves that built our economy. The first 90 years of this country, for the next 100, black people still did not have full rights and citizenship recognized by the government. We can't even ask to use ranked choice voting in our elections because the current politicians and the political parties are so entrenched in exchanging money for policy and perpetuating the two-party system that leaves the rest of the country, 90% of people, completely fucked by an endless cycle of capitalism. It's all about profit, and it's all about white supremacy, both at home and abroad. Yep. And I'm so sick of the way that the United States...
And that's all the current land of Israel is. White supremacy with a yarmulke on. That's it. It's the only difference.
States, media, and education completely whitewashes that. We can't even have a conversation about communism and socialism because everybody in this country is so fucking scared of those words. They have no idea what they mean. Remember McCarthyism? I mean, how can you have a country that says that it is a free country when you literally have a ringleader blacklisting other politicians just by uttering a word? And that fear of communism and socialism is absolutely still present today. We're so stuck on capitalism and this greed for profit, relentless greed for profit. It will keep us locked in this cycle of raping the earth and exploiting working class people and keeping everybody else divided through the mechanisms of white supremacy. I'm so sick and tired, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of watching the politicians and the leaders fight in every way they can to keep this.
And that's why there's warnings, all right, in the scriptures about Jake getting all caught up in the pursuit of riches. All right, let's see, 31. All right, it says, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. Watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. The rich hath great labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates. The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gold hath been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken wherewith.
Politicians and the leaders fight in every way they can to keep this country exactly on the path that it is. Anyway, that's my...
Again, going back to what? Proverbs 38 and 9 that I read, right? Just give me enough, all right, sufficient for me. As the Lord's Prayer says, all right, about the daily bread, right?
My hot take for the 4th of July.
You want more energy? Take caffeine. You want better memory and focus? Take lion's mane. You want to reduce stress? Take L-theanine.
On the path that it is. Anyway, that's my hot take for the 4th of July.
400 years of slavery, a century of Jim Crow, decades of redlining, voter suppression, and even economic exclusion, and still, no national apology, no systemic repair, no reparations. But now, the tides are turning across the United States.
Because not only do they have a fear that in the future, all right, there's going to be get back, but you got to consider what's probably going to happen if Jake gets a substantial amount. Let's just say if it were possible. What do you think is going to happen? How many are going to say, fuck this shit and just move on? Bye. The reason I'm bringing this point up is because they cannot do without us. They will lose their ever fucking mind, all right, if they don't have anybody to look down upon, to fuck with. Why? Because when you go back in history, all those times in Europe, they were warring with each other. Yeah.
Some of the white folks are finally waking up and admitting the fact that they owe the black community, not just emotionally, not just symbolically, but they owe them financially, that the black folks in the United States deserve reparations. And you guys, reparations are not charity, they are justice. And this is what the black folks have been demanding for years and years.
Yeah, and that's another fucking excuse they have for, why should we have to pay? That happened so long ago. Well, it was old, number one. It's still old. None of the things that you promised you actually delivered on, but you like to give shit that doesn't mean anything or that's not costing you anything, as far as restitution. A holiday. What the fuck is that going to do for us? Shit like that. Token shit. All right? That's why what's going to happen to you is going to happen. Because of your character lack thereof. And it's just why the scriptures say there's no chance of repentance for you in Hebrews 12. All right? Verses 16 and 17. All right? And a big clue should be that same chapter, verses 6 through, I think, 11 it is. All right? About those the Most High loves, he chastises. Well, who's being chastised and who's being allowed to, hold on. Yeah, who's been allowed to run rampant all over the earth, all right? with seemingly no consequences. There's a reason for that. All right? And it's not good.
If these white folks finally are waking up and admitting that the black folks really deserve reparations, then it's appealing. And in fact, I've watched several videos of the white folks now speaking up. They demand change in the United States. They're coming to realization that America says that it was no longer their free land, that they have been always told to ignore it for years. Even the very immigrants who participated in building the United States, right now they are being deported to strange lands, the lands they know nothing about. Even the Chinese who participated in building the railways in the United States, they don't have free access, free re-entry to the United States. They must have visa for them to enter the United States, and you will not stay there for long. You must have legal documents that allows you to stay there. America has always sold itself to be the beacon of hope, to be the promised land, and majority of the people have always admired the United States. And now that the very own citizens are fleeing to other countries, that their country is no longer safe, there is a political breakdown. People are scared of their lives. People are scared of their families. The economy is getting high each and every day. It's so expensive. Everything is skyrocketing. And yet, the current government promised that it's going to make America great again. That is going to make America the land of freedom. And yet, the freedom of voices is no longer there in the United States. So many voices are being silenced. Americans don't have that opportunity to air out their voices freely without being silenced. We have seen this several times. You remember the other time there was a TikTok ban because Americans were speaking up. They were speaking truth, and you know, truth hurts, and that's what they really don't want. They don't want these people to speak the truth. They want to silence them. And when these white folks are waking up and realizing that this is what the black folks have been enduring for years, they don't only have to speak up, they must have to show action in their community that they are ready for change. That they're...
Yeah, I'm gonna, stop it there because that's I mean, to say wishful thinking is an understatement. But once again, I hope whoever views this has been edified. Says white folks now waking up and admit this truth. Well, like I said, it's far too little, too late. All right, this place is slated for destruction, and nothing's going to stop it. All right, Jeremiah 50 and 7 through 9. All right, so with that, hey, until the next video, hey, shalom.